This video, I'll be teaching you how to calculate your ad spend and how to interpret the numbers on your TikTok ads dashboard. A lot of times, I have people coming inside my DM asking me that, oh, Benson, I want to start running ads. How much should I have? And you have another category of people that always ask me that, okay, I've run my first ad, I have this number showing on my dashboard. What does it mean, and how can I interpret it to scale my ad? So if this is the first time you are seeing my video, my name is Benson. I'm a TikTok ads expert and I help businesses scale from 7 to 8 figures using TikTok ads. And just like I said in the beginning, in this video, I'll be showing you how to calculate how much you need to have to run ads and how to interpret the numbers you have on your TikTok ads dashboard. So let's get right into it. Let me show you what a typical TikTok ads dashboard look like. I'll be using this as an example. So this is an account I've been managing for about 6 months or so before it got banned. And you can see all of these numbers on my dashboard. So you have the cost, the CPC, the CPM, and all of that. So I'll talk about that later. I just want you to have an idea of what your TikTok ad dashboard looks like. So let's go back to the first thing on the agenda, which is how to calculate your ad spend. And you can even say this to me, that how to budget for your ads. So there are some questions you need to ask yourself before you say that, oh, this is how much I have to run ads. Let me remind you that your ad spend in most cases depends on a variety of things. Number one, the price point, the industry. Are you selling a physical product? Are you selling a digital product? Are you selling services? Are you selling high ticket products? These are questions you need to ask yourself, and these are elements that will play a major role in how much you eventually spend on ads. But here in this video, I'll just give you, based on my experience, what I feel, how you can work your way through budgeting for your ad spend using maths. And this is specifically most relevant to people selling digital product. If you are selling physical product, yeah, it might work for you. But then I've distilled the data, or let me say the numbers I've used in making this calculation were gotten from digital product. However, like I said, you can extrapolate it and use it if you are selling physical product or you are selling services as well. So the first question, let's get into it. The first question you need to ask yourself if you want to budget for your ad spend is, how much is your profit on each sale? And this is a very important question. A sale might be worth 60,000 naira to you, but how much of that money is yours? For example, if you're an affiliate marketer, you're selling affiliate offers, and like I have an example here. Let's say a sale a sale is worth 60,000. A sale is 60,000 naira. That is, the product you are selling is 60,000 naira. But 50% of that money goes to the cost creator, and 50% of that money goes into your own pocket as the affiliate marketer. That means even though you are making 60,000 naira from that sale, or you are getting paid 60,000 naira from that sale, the true worth of that sale to you is 30,000 naira, because that is what goes into your pocket. So the first question you ask yourself is, okay, I want to sell a product. How much from this, how much from that sale is going inside my pocket? If you are a course creator yourself, or maybe you are a coach, you have your own digital product you've created, that means 100% of the money you are getting paid goes into your pocket. But if you're an affiliate marketer, you only have maybe certain percentage going to your pocket, maybe 30%, 50%, 70%, or 90%, as the case may be. But then it's different. For a course creator, 100% of the money made goes into his pocket. But for an affiliate marketer, only a percentage of that money goes into the pocket. So here, like I said, let's use an example of 60,000 naira. The sale is 60,000 naira, but the money that gets into your own pocket is just 50%, which is 30,000 naira. All right. Now, the next question you ask yourself is that, what is the maximum amount of money I can spend to acquire a customer? This question, the answer to this question also depends on the industry, depends on your strategy. But for me, I believe that as an individual, I'm willing to spend one third of the money, one third of the money I make from my product to acquire a customer. Get that word right. One third of the money I make from a sale um to acquire a customer. I'm ready to spend that much. And my thinking is that if I have 30,000 naira, for example, let's divide 30,000 naira into three. That's 10,000 naira in three places. That means I'm willing to part away with 10,000 naira to acquire a customer. I'm willing to pay. If anybody comes to me, maybe a platform, an individual, a company, or let's say just anybody comes to me and say, "Oh, I have I have a customer for you." I'm willing to give that person 10,000 naira just for giving me that customer. You understand? So that is how much I'm willing to pay. That's the maximum. In some cases, some people will say half of the money. Some people say it depends. It depends. Do you understand? So as for me, I'm coming from the fact that if I divide the worth of that sale into three places, remember we're using 30K as an example here. 30K in three places is 10,000. 30K divided by three is 10,000 naira. So my thinking is that I'm willing to spend the first 10,000 naira to acquire a customer, then the second 10,000 naira to for acquiring tools, miscellaneous and the likes, for my effort. Maybe I pay somebody to design the landing page, I pay somebody, like that will be the cost of that. I'm willing to part with that 10,000 naira. Then the last 10,000 naira, that will be like the real profit. That one is like, okay, this is the amount of money I'm making on this sale. Do you understand the logic now? That's why I'm willing to pay one third of the worth of a sale to acquire a customer. So let's say for me, let's say if a product is 100,000 naira, right? How much will I be willing to acquire a customer? So I'll just say 100,000 divided by 3, and that means with 30,000, 33,000, I'm willing to pay that amount of money to acquire a customer. Then the next question you have to ask yourself is that what is your closing rate? What is my closing rate? Which is if they give you 100 leads, 100 random leads now that are of great quality, that are interested and that can afford your product, how much of those people, how much of that 100 leads can you convert to become customers? So that's the question you have to ask yourself. You might get your answer from your previous classes you've done, your previous sales presentation you've done, or maybe you create a new sales funnel to see and get the exact number that, oh, this is how much, this is my closing rate. Then, what is the expected drop-off rate? The drop-off rate means when I generate leads, not all of those leads eventually comes to my sales presentation. If you generate leads to WhatsApp group, let's say you generate 100 leads to WhatsApp group, at the end of the day, maybe about 50 of them will show up for the class, or maybe if you are doing a webinar or anything like that. You understand? So that is the purpose. How much of that do you expect? As for me, usually I expect like 50% overall, and I'll explain the logic behind it. Then another question you need to ask yourself is that how much is a customer worth to me in the back end? Which is after the first sale, you have a funnel, maybe you have an upsell, you have a high ticket product you still want to sell to them. You have multiple upsells you can sell to the customer to make more money. So what is that worth to you? For example, now, if I'm selling a course of 60,000 naira and I have an upsell of 1 million naira, so that means even if I make a loss on the front end, I know that if this customer should buy this my high ticket, which is 1 million naira, it will cover for all the money I've lost in the front end. So this is a question for those that have layers of offers in their funnel. So let me now give you an example. I've been talking. That seems like theory. Let's look at an example. So the common type of funnel we use in this part of the world, I mean Nigeria, among business owners, among affiliate marketers and course creators is one of these two. Or let me say, for the purpose of this video, I'm using these two as a reference. So funnel type 1, ads to landing page. Then from landing page, they click on the button, it takes them to WhatsApp group. Then from the WhatsApp group, you can have a WhatsApp class presentation or you have a YouTube live. This is one type of funnel I've seen people use repeatedly. And second type of funnel is from ads, and then there you take them to the sales letter or the sales video. Maybe you are running a direct sales funnel. From ads, you take them to maybe your seller page, your next stage, or your landing page where they just check out and they make payment. So I spoke about drop off the other time, and let me indicate the places where this drop off often comes on. So from your ads to landing page, yes, the number of leads is recorded on the dashboard at this point landing page, but not everybody that is recorded as number of leads on this landing page eventually makes it to the WhatsApp group, especially on a platform like TikTok, because some of them will click on the link and they'll be directed to download the WhatsApp. They might click on the link, they will have an error message, they might click on the link, and all of that. So let's say because of these issues now, you are losing about 20% of the leads from your landing page to your WhatsApp group. And let's say 20%. Then this WhatsApp group, when people eventually comes to the WhatsApp group, not everybody who is inside the WhatsApp group eventually comes to your WhatsApp class or your sales presentation. Some of them, or let's say about 30% of them, will not show up. In fact, that is me being optimistic. And mind you, when I say show up for your presentation, I'm adding those that will eventually show up by virtue of replay. Some people might not join the first day you do your presentation. They might join, maybe they might come back to read the messages a week later or 3 days later or some other time. But let's just say at the end of the day, these 2 points that you have drop off, this landing page to your WhatsApp group, there's a 20% drop off there. This WhatsApp group to WhatsApp class or WhatsApp sales presentation, you have about 30% drop off, which means that at the end of the day, you have 50% of your lead does not even 50% of the leads you generate does not even make it to your sales presentation. So that is the estimated drop off I was talking of here. But if you are using this type of funnel too, the drop off is minimal because from ads, nearly 100% of everybody, every of the leads recorded at this point makes it to see your sales presentation. You can see the particular word I'm using, sales presentation. That is what matters. Like how many people eventually sees you do your pitching. In this funnel two type, in this funnel two type, by the virtue of the funnel, a lot of people are actually going to make it to your sales presentation. Now let's do the numbers. Let's say, going back to the example I was using before, a sale is 60,000 naira. You get paid 60,000 naira, but to you, it is only worth 30,000 naira because that is, you are getting 50% commission. So the cost per sale, which is how much you are willing to spend on one sale to make one sale, which is how much you are willing to spend to acquire a customer. Like I said 1/3 of what of the sale to you. So in this case, this is 10,000 naira. That means you are willing to spend 10,000 naira to make one sale. And that means on each sale, on each 10,000 naira you make, you are making 3x of that money back. So if you put 10,000 into the ads, you are making 3x back. This is just an estimate. Mind you, we are doing this estimate, we are doing this estimate backward to calculate how much your ad spend should be. Then let's assume that your closing rate is 5%, which is if you have 100 leads in a group, in a class, you are expected to close 5 of them. I think this is me being generous. I think 5% is decent. So let's say your closing rate is 5%. Now look at this estimation here, which means if you generate 100 leads, you make 5 sales, right? And those 5 sales, based on this projection we made earlier, those 5 sales is how many? Is 150,000 naira in sales in naira, because 5 times 30,000 naira, which is the cost of the worth of the sale to you, is 150,000 naira. And by this estimation we made earlier, which means you are expected to spend 50,000 naira on that ad. Do you understand? Like 50,000 naira should be your ad spend, which means if you spend 50,000 naira, you make 5 sales, you generate about 100 leads, and you get 150K. You make 150,000 naira back. Now, this CPS that you have here, if you can remember, I said something that the people you are going to get, you have people that they are leads, they sign up from your ads, they join your WhatsApp group, you call those one leads. Then you have another set of people that those are the ones that from being a lead, they will show up for your sales presentation. So here, the estimate I'm doing is that, okay, before I talk about it, there is a difference between how much you are spending per lead and how much you are spending per show up. And let me explain it here. If you look at from this funnel one, from landing page, your cost per lead is between here and here, because from your ad, which is the click, okay, your cost per lead is between here and here, from your landing page to your WhatsApp group. So what this is what is recorded on the dashboard. So let's say 100 people comes to this landing page, and out of those 100 people, 10 people are in your WhatsApp group. That means you've generated 10 leads. And if you check your dashboard, that is what you're expected to see. But not everybody that is inside this WhatsApp group comes to this WhatsApp class. So your cost per lead, which is the cost that takes people to come from this landing page to this place, is different from the cost that take people from here, from this landing page to this WhatsApp class. So the cost of people coming from a landing page to your WhatsApp group, I call it your cost per lead. That's your cost per lead. Then the cost of people that comes from a landing page to your WhatsApp class, I call it the cost per show up. Cost per show up, like the cost for people showing up for your sales presentation. So that is what I have here. Mind you, I said earlier that I'm expecting that the total drop off, because people will drop off between this place and this place. I hope you can see my screen the way I'm touching it. People will drop off from this place, from this landing page to this WhatsApp group, and people will also drop off from here, from here. Let's say the total number of drop off altogether is 50%, which means 50% of the people that is recorded on the landing page, 50% of people that is recorded on your ad dashboard as the conversion, 50% of them doesn't make it to your sales presentation. Only 50% of them makes it there. So coming here, this CPS that we have here is what I call the cost per show up. I think I'm coming. Cost, I think I should just write it out. So cost per show up. Yeah, so that is cost per show up. So if on your dashboard you are spending okay, let's do the maths back. So cost per show up 500 naira, and I say dashboard cost per lead is 250 naira. I'll explain what that means in a second. Now you see this drop off I have here. I said your estimation is that 50% of them will be the drop off. So that if you spend 50,000 naira to generate 200 leads, this is where I'm coming. If you spend 50,000 naira to generate 200 leads, your cost per lead is what? 250 naira. If my math is correct, let me do it again. If I spend 50,000 naira to generate 200 leads, my cost per lead is what? My CPL is 250. Alright, 250 naira. Then I'm expecting that 50% of those people will not show up for my presentation. So if the drop off rate is 50%, Then the actual cost for people that show up, which is the cost per show up, which is for 100 attendees. Because if 100 of people, if 50% of 200 leads drops off, that means I only have 100 leads left, right? So from there, the cost per show up is now going to be 500 naira, because if you divide 50,000 naira divided by 500, 50,000 naira divided by 100 rather, so that gives you 500 naira, which is your cost per show up. So going by this now, with this calculation I've done, I will now come back here, which means if I'm spending 50,000 naira to generate 200 leads, and from those 200 leads, I will eventually have 100 attendees. Mind you, 100 attendees is what we have as our estimation here. So you see, so these leads here, this will now be, they will not be leads, they will be 100 show ups. Let me now call them 100 show ups. So that means is if I spend 500 naira per each show up, then I'm expecting that I have 5 sales. I make 150k in sales, and I've just spent 50,000 naira. So that is how you can now confirm that, okay, this my math is making sense. Do you understand? So, and so far on TikTok, the cost per lead for digital product is usually between 200 to 300 naira. Like the average is supposed to be cost per lead, which is this one. Now, depending on your funnel, your drop off rate might be higher, it might be lower, and depending on your sales ability to sell people, your closing rate might be higher, your closing rate might be lower. Do you understand now? So that depends on you. So for some people, their closing rate might be 10%. If your closing rate is 10%, that means you will be making more sales from just 50,000. You'll be making about 300k by just spending 50,000 naira. You understand? Then if your drop off rate is low, that means you definitely have more show up and to make more sales. And if you are using this type of funnel, maybe funnel 2, where the drop off is very minimal, then that means more people will see your sales presentation and more people will make payment. So this is how to calculate your ad spend. I think I need to make um a part 2, which is where I'll talk about how to interpret the numbers on your dashboard. It's good to have you. See you in the next video, and leave a comment if this video is helpful to you in any way, or if there's any question. I'm going to leave my contact in the description. You can reach out to me, and if you have questions, you can ask in the comment section. I will see how best I can help you. See you in part 2.